And here he comes.
Oh, look here. Here he
like
comes.
clockwork. Here he is.
He's like me now that he's in retirement. He just comes on out whenever he feels like coming out.
Just what are they going to do? What are we going to do? Tell him he can't come out?
Exactly. Hey, guys.
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I haven't had much sleep,
Yeah,
so I'm
you've
looking
been
forward
busy.
to napping.
You have been busy. So you went on a bike ride. I know it was like 35, 40 miles.
Yesterday.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, a little bit of a work this morning with Jeff.
I did. I started at 7. I have a photographer that I have in town. You might remember some.
You have a photographer everywhere you go.
I love pictures,
How many
man.
photographer buddies do you have?
A lot.
Because you'll be like,
A lot.
I got this photography buddy. He wants to come over
Oh,
to the
yeah,
house.
we've got another
I got
one.
this other photography buddy. I got a photography buddy. About every 2 conversations I have with Jimmy starts with, I've got a photography
my wife
buddy.
owning an art gallery and
Yeah.
it specialized in photography initially, yes.
That's how that happened?
Yes, a lot
Yeah.
of pictures.
So you've been busy.
And I like archiving everything. Like I honestly, I've had probably 15 photographers over the last 10 years, at random tracks, random times, and someday it'll be a nice picture book.
Yep.
That's right. It will be.
We had a lot of conversations about your your career and when to call it an end and we had a lot of great conversations. But here you are. You started the process. You're going through speed weeks, the beginning of the season, media day, all those things that you do every single year. What has it been like on this particular trip that's felt different? What is the emotion? What is the experience been like
Sure.
for you as opposed to the years before that were kind of just going through, you're in the grind and here we are
Yeah.
again, going to start the year. It's got to feel different.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And you're going to love this. I'm literally walking out of the production day in Charlotte, whose text comes in and says, "Hey, that's your last one." Right here. Like he knows what I'm going through and what I'm experiencing right now, and in like his timing's perfect. It hits me as I'm walking out of the Charlotte production day.
I know, because he can't hide his giddiness when he doesn't have to go through the monotony, right? Like, and so like, what are we in year 3 or 4 of his retirement, and we come to speed weeks, and I ain't gonna lie, there's a little level of satisfaction when other drivers are still having to go through the media days, and I got to be honest. I didn't know this until just now. There's even more satisfaction knowing that one of your obligations is us now.
That's fair.
Even
That's
if
fair.
it's the last time that you're going to be doing this as a full-time driver. But
Yeah.
but you got to be kind of like, all right, this is the part you're going to enjoy. You got to soak it in, right?
For sure. The excitement is so high, and what's been really neat is to see the energy and optimism and purpose for my family, my core group of people on the race team, all of Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, we've always been unified, but there's just like just something different about it. It has more meaning, it's more special, and that just raises the excitement.
What's this year going to be like for him now that he's announced his retirement? Like, is he going to go to team debriefs and be like, man, I just got a few more months of these and I'm out?
No. It will be completely different. So, if it's anything like mine, Jimmy's such a unique guy. He may have a whole different experience, but if it's anything like mine, those are the moments you're going to start to pace yourself through and allow to run its course. We would go to the racetrack throughout my whole career, and I kind of dreaded Friday morning practice. I kind of dreaded going through happy hour. It was a necessary sort of thing that had to get done, and it was work, and you wanted the car to get better, and you knew the potential to be frustrated about that. And it was it was all just part of the process, nothing that you enjoyed. You enjoyed the race. You enjoyed the result. You enjoyed celebrating and success. You really typically didn't experience any of that in practice or qualifying. Those were just sort of hurdles throughout the weekend to get to the finish line.
Yeah.
The final year, I was sitting there, and it was early in the year, like first couple races, and I was sitting there during a practice on Friday morning and watching the guys work on the car, and I was like, man, I'm going to miss this. I couldn't believe it that I was feeling that way because I hadn't really liked it or thought to even enjoy it,
Sure.
But I was sitting there going, I'm really going to miss us trying to make the car faster. The part I thought it was going to be the drive in the race and the challenge trying to win a race, but it's really the other things that I'm going to miss. It's the camaraderie and us trying to fix a tight center, things that annoyed the hell out of you are the ones that are going to sort of stand out. And you're going to, man, I'm not going to get to work with my guys in an hour practice anymore.
Yeah, that bond that we have with our crew guys, I mean, we all see it in stick and ball sports. There's the locker room, and, that's the place. Like, we have that. I don't think, sadly, it's been shared broadly or widely enough that really takes place. But I feel like just initially, and I'm only, a couple weeks into this, like at the track thing, just looking around, seeing my guys, knowing where their heart is, knowing how hard they want to try to help me have, the best year ever this year. And that relationship, I mean, I think there's a lot in that that I'm going to miss.
We got in a group chat program and started a group chat with every road guy and crew member from our 2017 team, and we were chatting in it today as a way to kind of continue that communication and prolong that connection that we all have with each other. And we don't do as much as we should together as far as going out to eat and so forth, but we still have that group chat to be able to talk to each other, and a lot of it's funny because
your picture with that group of guys is still in the 88 transporter, by the way.
Really?
It's still framed and on the wall. Yeah.
No
what was that picture? What do you mean?
You guys had a picture. There's a car in it, and the whole team is standing there, and we have our team debriefs in that transporter often. And it's still up there.
That's pretty cool.
Greg and the guys.
What do you think Alex Bowman thinks about that?
I hope he's all right with it. The one thing that's interesting, and I'll sort of pre-warn you about is, in my mind, or maybe in Jimmie's mind, when you think that you're retiring and this unit will just continue with someone else, they don't. Right? Now, some of them do. But, I mean, even just in a few years, a few of those guys sort of peel away and they're going to go do something else, or they're going to join a different team, or maybe they're out of the sport entirely. And I think that was the best. We didn't realize it at the time, but creating that chat there's no way we were going to be able to keep that unit together in communication, because everybody just sort of splintered, and a lot of them are still on the team, but a lot of guys have moved on to different things, and it's interesting how much you don't realize how much is changing within your team while you're there.
Sure.
Right?
No, that's
guys
a great
come
point.
and go, guys come and go, but man, when you finally leave the nest. And then you run into that group or that core group down the road, and you realize some of the guys aren't there anymore, or they're wearing another uniform or a different team's uniform. It's going to be a good experience though this year. You're going to enjoy it. I know you guys are working hard trying to improve on what you did last year. You seem pretty excited about that. You got a new car.
Yeah.
I'm hearing so many good things about this car. Tell me why you guys are so positive on the new Camaro.
I think when we look at the bulk of the tracks that we race on, the 550 package, as the year went on, we got to a point where we would trim the car out, something that you hear in IndyCar and maybe here at Daytona and Talladega, but there's not enough power to push that big old sled through the air. And we just found that last year, in order to get to the lower trim levels, it just came at such a big sacrifice for car balance. This new vehicle that we have, the new Camaro that's out, it's just better balance for those moments. We can trim it out and still keep the aero percentages right and where we need them.
For a fan, though, and I'll include myself in this group, when I look at the car, it looks the same.
Yeah.
Right? Are there some nuances within the character lines or body of the car that are different?
Yeah, I think largely, and you'll know this term, but the center of pressure is moved back, so there's more rear downforce in the car. And when you look at the like the rear quarter panels and the shelf that leads to the spoiler, that's a bit wider and it has a bit more shape to really direct the air and get it to attach to the spoiler.
Right.
It sounds like that's something that's important to me. I mean, you're talking about him. Yeah. So that's good, right, Jimmie? Is that what you're saying? That's all good. Yeah.
That's what we think.
More downforce.
More downforce.
That's right.
Well, what's wild is we've always put downforce in cars at the expense of drag because we had 900 horsepower engines that would pull it.
Right.
But the 550 package, it won't pull it. And that's when we look at where we started at the beginning of the year to even mid-season, the whole garage area was trying to figure out where to be, and then where things netted out. We at Hendrick felt like the high downforce tracks where we'd run max side skirt height and have the rear end of the car up, we were very competitive to the competitors. But when you go to Michigan and those guys are dropping the back of the car, we didn't have the right aero balance to really support that.
So the word got out, or some, you've made it known that beyond this year you plan to continue to race. And you've spoken a little bit about running some IndyCar stuff. Are you in the middle of planning any of those relationships and any of the racing that you want to do in the future? Are you in the middle of really making concrete plans to do some of those things, or are these just sort of casual conversation at this point?
Right now, it's only been casual, and there's been a great reception in the IndyCar space and sports car racing here in IMSA and even worldwide.
Yeah.
So as the year goes on, I'll develop more of a plan and hopefully get a chance to try some cars and see what I even think. Some of these cars I've never even driven in, so I want to try that first before I commit to something.
So you want to go drive the car, test the car before you actually say, yeah.
Yeah, I think I should.
That's not a bad idea.
That's probably not a bad idea.
For sure.
Go on a first date, hang out, get to know each other a little bit.
See if there's going to be a second date.
We've asked you on the show. You were on the show last year, and you gave us a good answer. But what's in that list? We heard road courses in Indy. Why road courses in Indy? When you're a 7-time champion, won everywhere, but I didn't never look at you and think of you as a guy who just loved road course racing. But you have ran the 24 hours. You've ran the road courses before outside of NASCAR. But I didn't think of you as a guy that would go seek more of that.
Sure.
Can't imagine anybody wanting to seek a road course anyway.
Anyway, well, two answers. One is funny. Do you know how fast those Indy cars go on an oval?
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's
so no thanks.
Perfect answer. Right.
The other part was when I drove that Formula One car 2 Novembers ago, I just couldn't believe what I was experiencing. So I don't know how competitive I would be in sports car racing or IndyCar. I love a good challenge. So I'm willing to lay it on the line and put myself out there and, in a sense, kind of be vulnerable and say, hey, I want to try this no matter how I perform. But just the kid in me that likes driving a race car, that was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally hit the brakes and my vision went out. I blacked out. To look at a corner and your eyes know what a NASCAR vehicle can shoot through a turn at. And they're like, oh, no, don't lift. Actually, grab 2 more gears and run that 40, 50 miles an hour faster than you think you can. And that was just fun.
Wow.
It was so much fun.
What about off-road trucks, going back to your roots?
Oh,
I would, without a doubt. I think, I'm a planner in some respects, but I would say IndyCar is probably a shorter window of opportunity. Sports cars is wider. I think my off-road experiences and options I've got a lot of time to still look at that. So desert, short course, I would look at both and would love to get back in those trucks. I want to drag you out there and get you off the ground, man.
Yeah.
It is so fun to just send it and everything's okay.
Yeah. As long as I'm driving. Hey, as long as I'm driving, that's good. Because I made a mistake of getting in a truck with Robbie Gordon. We were at Phoenix for the race, and qualifying was at lunch, and we had
Why
the whole.
would you do that?
We had the whole rest of the day to do nothing, and he's like, "Hey man, you want to ride with me?" And I got this Baja truck, the one that he would run at what's that race overseas?
The Paris Dakar truck's what you're thinking of.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He had that thing out there, and he's like, "I'm gonna go ride a little bit. You want to go?" And I'm like, "Man, if I say no, he's gonna think I'm a wuss, so I have to say yes." You know how drivers are. Yeah. And so I was like, sure, I'll ride with you, man. And terrified.
Did you get nauseous?
No. But we're flying. We go drive off the road, and we're flying flat-footed. Feels like probably 120, 150 mile an hour across this flat, gravel forever. And I'm like, he doesn't know what's next. He doesn't know there might be a ditch, there might be a hole, we can't see, like it's flat. Like how do you know when there's a ditch? And if we hit one, we're done. And I could not wait till we pulled back on the highway and started heading back to the track. And I was like, whew. I was like, yeah, that was great, man. Appreciate it. I'm never doing this again.
Never again.
Never doing this again.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So if I was driving, I'd probably enjoy it.
Way better situation. Yeah.
Well,
or you just don't go ride with Robbie Gordon.
I know. There's 2 parts of that deal that are highly risky. Riding and Robbie.
I always thought, and I know you do too, I always thought a lot of Robbie. I know I hated racing him on the racetrack. Thought he was a complete idiot out there. But as a person and a friend and a dude to hang out with, tons of fun.
He's a wheelman.
Yeah.
He can go.
Yeah, he was just questionable in a stock car. I will say that.
Sure.
You did. And this is all coming back. You and Robbie had a couple of run-ins, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
And you called him a couple names in those interviews.
We did, but we would run into each other at the bar and sit down and drink beer and just talk. And
when we go back to name calling, what you called Todd Bodine, I still today hear that.
Go ahead
phrase.
and tell us. Yep.
Cue ball-headed fool.
That is so amazing.
Cue ball-headed fool.
Did you have that stored away somewhere, or that just naturally came out?
So the dad
was it Phoenix? It was Colorado Springs track. Was that what it was?
Pikes Peak.
Pikes Peak's what I'm trying to say.
Dad and Jeff Bodine hated each other's guts in the mid '80s and wrecked each other over and over. Dad would wreck Jeff Bodine. So this is Dad, right? And you and him are similar in the fact that you go out and try to win every single race. You're trying to win championships, whatever it takes. He bailed on that one day and wrecked Jeff Bodine, knowing that they were going to penalize him. I'd never seen my dad do that.
Get out of character in a sense.
Totally bailed on like the goal.
Gotcha.
And was like, because I'm sitting there, it was at Charlotte Speedway, and I was in the suite, and I'm like, I want to go to victory lane, win, Dad, be the best. And he decides that he's not going to do that. He's going to spin Jeff Bodine out because he's mad at Jeff, and they penalize him 5 laps. And that was it. And so from that period on, anybody with the last name Bodine was bad.
Gotcha.
And so Todd was guilty by association.
Sure.
And so I had that one ready to deliver.
But what happened at Pikes Peak? What did he do to get?
We had a top 2 car. It was pretty much me and Matt Kenseth pretty much every weekend at the racetracks back then. But this particular race, there was about 6 of us. And I watched this race again probably about 8 to 10 months ago. And
turns 1 and 2, if I remember right.
It was a late yellow, and we all got to racing real hard, and it was so fun back then. All the cars were pretty equal, and you could race really hard around each other and get real close to each other. But there was a pack of 6 of us, and I kind of got shuffled back a few spots, and that annoyed me because I felt like I should have been good enough to finish 1st or 2nd. So I'm sitting there about 5th with just a few laps to go, and I barreled off into turn 1 with Todd on the inside of me, trying to clear him to get back my progress and make up what I lost, and he got loose and doored me and spun me out. And
you had that thing in your back
pocket,
ready to go.
I was so ready.
This reminds me, when we first started talking about doing a podcast, Dale Jr. had the best idea for a segment, and that was where we call up drivers that he calls up drivers that had wrecked him like back in '98 and see if they were ready to apologize to him yet.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
And just not even give him a heads up or a warning.
Call
up
cold turkid.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
Hey, man, it's Jr.
Yeah, hey.
Remember that race? I was wondering if you felt bad about that at all. I'd have to, in turn, make calls myself on behalf of guys that I had wrecked,
That would be great content.
It was.
Phenomenal.
We ended up doing a lot of segments. We did have some drivers on that we needed to squash some beefs with.
That's right.
We did talk about all the guys that I had wrecked.
Kyle.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wrecked Stanton Barrett once.
One of the nicest guys out there.
Yes.
That's what makes him feel so bad about it. Is that Stanton Barrett's one of the nicest guys, and he took him out.
At Pikes Peak.
Sure.
A lot of bad things happen there.
Yeah,
whatever reason.
Altitude, man, it gets everybody.
That's what it was.
Nobody's acting normal.
I'm gonna blame it on the altitude. Before we let you go, man, I want to talk about the race this weekend. You ran in the duels last night. You guys raced a little bit more than I expected.
I know.
Was that kind of the? I know. So to be clear, I know all the teams set in the debrief. Everybody sets and sort of makes this plan. This is what we're going to do. The manufacturers all want to work together. Teammates want to work together. But it really seemed like there was not as many concrete restrictions on what you could do, and you guys just could go out there and race. And rather than really take care of your car to get it into the onto the grid for the 500, you went out to go win. Everybody seemed to be racing more than I thought. Is that what you thought from behind the wheel?
I did too, and I was trying to wonder if I missed a meeting or something, because I was in the second race and I'm watching the first race. I'm like, those guys are having fun.
Yeah.
Did I miss a meeting? Like, are we allowed to go do this now? But I feel like there's a couple pieces to it. One, I think when you have stage points on the line, we all know how important those are. So there was a reason to race. And then most of the cars can really push hard, and you can see the other two manufacturers really pushing hard and creating that energy. And then I was really proud of Stenhouse trying to learn how much he could push and what he could do with his cars. So I think they kind of set the tone, and then in race 2, we're like, sweet, let's do this.
Where is it stand right now? So the front of the Ford's pretty flat. Looks like they're pretty comfortable lining up, pushing about any car they want to. How do you feel about the nose on the new Chevy? Is it where you want it? Can you improve it if you need to? How comfortable are you pushing people?
I think we can get up there and hit someone, but to sit on someone and push them for a long period of time, I'm not comfortable with that yet. So I feel like we're missing a little pushing. What I was bummed about in the Clash is that I couldn't receive a push very well. My car was super loose. So with what we're allowed to change leading into the race last night after qualifying, we made some good progress on our car receiving a push. I think we still have a little bit more to go. But if I can get up there and slam someone, I still feel like I can have that offensive opportunity. But we've got to get the rear a little bit more secure. I think those other manufacturers just have a little bit more time, because last year in all the races we're at, they were getting in there pushing more often, and they might be a couple steps ahead of us on setup.
Absolutely, man. Well, we're wishing you the best of luck on Sunday. Hope the rest of your weekend goes well. Don't let them. That's the thing, man. That's the best piece of advice I can give you about this year and beyond, is you don't have to say yes to everything. You're going to feel like you're supposed to, but you don't. You can take a little time to yourself. Enjoy
Where were
it,
you
man.
before this week started?
Right. Sorry.
I'm wore out.
No. This isn't the part where you have to worry about it. It's when you get to Eddie Gossage. And then all that.
Oh, yeah.
All that.
That's Be ready for those weird oddball gifts that you really don't have any kind of comeback for. That's going to happen probably just at Texas.
Just at Texas.
Yeah, but bring your photographer just in case.
That's a place to bring one.
Yeah. And a horse trailer. You may be getting some livestock. You just never know.
Never know.
That's
I appreciate
right.
you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah,
all
buddy.
Right.